Dante and Beatrice now ascend to the seventh sphere, il cielo di Saturno, the heaven of Saturn, where dwell the souls of the contemplatives. Beatrice does not smile, nor do the souls sing, because the celestial power and beauty in this, the highest of the planetary spheres, would be too much for Dante to bear. Were I to smile, she tells him, you would become the same as Semele, burned to an ashy pile. This, of course, is a reference to the mother of Dionysus, who asked to look directly into the face of Zeus and was immediately shriveled to ash. It is a powerful image that very much conveys the essence of the following passages. Dante is nearing the highest heavens. The light is intense. He must be cautious, as we all must be. We must be reverent and humble in our approach. We must take off our shoes, so to speak, for we are walking on holy ground. Semele had boldly asked to look upon God directly, in a recklessly unmediated sense, and she had paid dearly for it. She is like the mythic young Psyche, who, despite warnings from her unseen lover Eros, the god who comes to her each night under cover of darkness and loves her most tenderly, is tempted to catch sight of him in lamplight as he sleeps, and thereafter loses him for many long and lonely years. Such tales are cautionary notes for any of us who might presume to look too soon into God's brilliance. The veils of the temple are there for good reason, so to speak, corrupted in the mundane world clearly and over many centuries. Yet in the spiritual domain, over which man has no power, they protect us until such times as we are capable of withstanding the incredibly high frequencies that lay beyond. Eros knew that Psyche was not yet ready, but she went ahead heedlessly anyway and paid a heavy price. In the heaven of Saturn, Dante is protected from such revelation and sees only that for which his soul is prepared. I saw a ladder then, he tells us, erected so far upward my sight could not follow it. And I saw so many splendours descending the rungs that I thought every light that shines in heaven had been poured downwards there. The splendours he speaks of are the souls of those who dedicated their lives to prayer and meditation in preparation for mystical experience. Those who sought the grace of detachment from the drama of life, from worldly entanglements that keep the soul enmeshed at a low vibration. Here they are depicted climbing up and down a golden ladder, reminiscent of Jacob's ladder, which leads to the heavens beyond. One of these glittering lights comes forward, delighted to converse, and Dante asks him how he is able to encounter the light from which he must now be shielded. And in answer, the soul begins to spin, like a whirling millstone, Dante tells us, and spinning, It became brighter and brighter. Bearing directly on me, the soul explained, is God's light, piercing the bowel of my being through. Its power being then conjoined to my sight, lifts me above myself until I gaze upon his essence, whence is milked such might. Thence comes the joyfulness wherewith I blaze. This description, says Helen Luke, conveys the very essence of contemplation, the inner experience of profound stillness that is not withdrawal but detachment, like the still point at the heart of the dance, as T.S. Eliot so beautifully writes it in his lovely quartets. But it is not easily achieved. Now the soul who communes with Dante is Peter Lombard. It took a lifetime to achieve such bliss, he explains, and he took numerous wrong turns along the way. He achieved high office in the church. He had been elevated to cardinal. But it was not the heights of worldly success that he was really seeking, and achieving high office made this abundantly clear. Only by retreating from the world, of entering the deep silence of contemplative prayer, had he finally found his way. And saying so, he returns to his companions, who, gathering together, ascend the heavenly stair once more. And as Dante looks on, he tells Beatrice he feels suddenly like a rose opening its petals towards the sun. The sweet lady drove me behind them then, up the ladder, merely by her gesture. Her power so conquered my nature. You are so near the highest blessedness, she then said, as they neared the top, that your eyes should be sharp and clear. So, before you make your way deeper into it, look down and see how great a world I have placed under your feet, in order that your heart may be presented as joyfully as it can to the triumphant crowd which comes delightedly through this ethereal sphere. And Dante looked back, through all the spheres they had visited, all the way back to earth, that threshing floor, he tells us, that makes us all so fierce. And then he turned back to Beatrice, and he gazed upon her beauty. Together then they rise up to the 8th sphere, il cielo stellato, the heaven of the fixed stars, in the constellation of Gemini, Dante's birth sign. It is just before dawn in this heavenly realm, and the narrative begins with Beatrice looking up into the sky, like a mother bird, Dante says, waiting and watching. He is about to be graced with 2 glorious visions, 2 brief glimpses of the wonders yet to come. By and by, the sky brightens and grows golden, and numerous radiances appear. They are the lights of the saints, and amongst them one completely outshines the rest. And Dante sees fleetingly, it is Christ himself. Dazzled and overcome, He cannot draw his gaze away. My soul groaned heady with high festival, gushed and overbrimmed itself, and what strange style it then assumed, remembers not at all. The wondrous vision quickly recedes, but Dante is quite undone. Beatrice steadies him. Look upon me a while, she counsels, and in so doing, he is soon returned to himself. You have seen such things, she tells him, that will have strengthened your sight. Dante lifts his heart in prayer then, as his lady directs, and a new vision begins to emerge, growing from a tiny orb of glimmering light far in the distance. But very soon he sees it is the resplendent Virgin Mary, that living star, he calls her, sapphire blue in colour, so deep, he tells us, that heaven itself was made more gay by its radiance. Dante turns directly to us then. Imagine how I felt, he asks, looking on at this most glorious sight. Such sweet music filled the air. Regina Coeli, the angel sang, Hail, heavenly Queen. And the joy of that song, Dante writes, is ringing within me still. The angel Gabriel then appeared, he who came to the Virgin at the Annunciation, now descends to crown her with a circlet of glittering stars and to escort her skyward, to shores that Dante cannot yet reach. The heavenly host rises then and fades from view as Dante's eyes strain to follow.